Welcome to the channel. My name is Matthias. Today we're going to talk about Amazing Spider-Man issues 353 to 358. The story itself is called Round Robin, the Sidekick's Revenge. And it's very odd because it feels like it should be a Moon Knight story, but it takes place in a Spider-Man comic book series. Because the main villain of the story, his name is Midnight, and he has ties to Moon Knight. He was like his sidekick for a while. Now he's come back as a cyborg and he wants to take vengeance on Moon Knight. And that's his whole idea during this whole story. And it's so weird because even though we're in a Spider-Man series, Spider-Man's barely in the story. And we have a ton of extra characters teaming up with him. You have Darkhawk, Punisher, Nova, Night Thrasher. Moon Knight obviously pops up in this story. There's not much substance to this particular story arc. And it goes on for 6 issues. It feels like it never ends. I feel like this would have worked a lot better if they would have kept this story as a B plot for maybe 2 or 3 issues, or as a backup story, and then have everything take place in 2 issues. So everything starts off with the Secret Empire. They're testing out their new assassin, which is Midnight. He was killed in a previous story arc that took place in Mark Spector Moon Knight that I referenced earlier. The thing is, now they brought him back as an android or a cyborg. I always get confused with the term. He's like the ultimate killing machine now, and he's totally subservient to the Secret Empire due to programming that he was given. So now we have the Secret Empire ready to send him out on his first field mission. He's going to have to break out of prison Thunderball. During this time, he had lost his powers, but there's a lot of emphasis on the fact that he's a very gifted engineer, and that he's going to be used to create the second generation of ultimate cyborgs for the Secret Empire. So we have Midnight go on his first mission to break out Thunderball when he ends up crossing paths with Spider-Man and Darkhawk. We get a pretty big battle between all these characters, and things just get worse and worse, and the Secret Empire has to step in to give Midnight a hand. What I like about this battle is that they put some emphasis that Darkhawk is a rookie, that he doesn't know how to be a superhero just yet. And he does a couple risky things that put bystanders at risk, and Spider-Man has to jump into action and save a couple people. While this battle rages on, Spider-Man actually realizes that he's dealing with Midnight, Moon Knight's ex-sidekick. He thought he was dead. So we get the supervillain monologue where he tells Spider-Man that he was brought back to life by the Secret Empire and that he wants to take vengeance on Moon Knight, so on and so forth. So what happens is Midnight was able to rescue Thunderball. He's extracted by the Secret Empire. So once rescued, Thunderball gets the lowdown on what they had planned for him in the Secret Empire. And he immediately tells him, look, Midnight seems to be sort of unhinged, so don't put your focus on him. So he tells the Secret Empire, look, I think we should not focus on supervillains. What we should do is kidnap superheroes, brainwash them, and then convert them into cyborgs. And Midnight gets really pissed off over this whole situation because he discovers that he's not going to be the main enforcer to the Secret Empire. Another character that we get in this story is this lady who I'm not sure if she's a nurse or a doctor, but the thing is, her name is Mrs. Church. She's always with Midnight trying to help him with his transition into being this robotic killing machine. So what happens is, on the next mission that Midnight has, he has to kidnap Nova, or he chooses to kidnap Nova. He seemed to be like an easy target. So this will lead to Night Thrasher getting involved in this story to rescue his teammate. On the other hand, we have Spider-Man that, since he knows he's dealing with Midnight, he contacts Moon Knight. It's pretty funny to see the exchange between Spider-Man and Moon Knight over this whole issue of his ex-sidekick coming back from the dead. I have to say that Moon Knight in the story, the way he acts is pretty hilarious because he's just barely intrigued by the fact that his ex-sidekick came back from the dead. There's even a couple moments where he actually says out loud, I'm not really sure if you're him. I'm not really sure this is my problem. It's pretty funny because he tries to distance himself from any responsibility over this whole situation. Also, we have Punisher getting involved because he was also part of that Mark Spector Moon Knight story arc that we talked about previously. So he was pretty hellbent on taking down the Secret Empire by this moment. So we get all these heroes teaming up, battling again and again against the Secret Empire, against Midnight, trying to rescue Nova. So here we get to the part of the story that seems never ending. We get one battle after another and another between Spider-Man and his allies against the Secret Empire and Midnight. Also, something pretty interesting is that Midnight really doesn't engage too much with Moon Knight. Like, they have a brief little skirmish, but outside of that, they don't have like this big confrontation that is set up at the beginning of the story. So what ends up happening in the story is that Mrs. Church is able to manipulate Midnight to the point that he's able to overthrow the leaders of the Secret Empire and try to take command. We get his final showdown against our heroes, and we get the big reveal that Mrs. Church is also a cyborg. And we get this really great exchange between Midnight and Mrs. Church because he's really surprised that she voluntarily did this to herself, while he's like this because he was killed and brought back from the dead. So we have this big falling out between Midnight and Mrs. Church that leads to the destruction of the Secret Empire base where they're at. While this is going down, our heroes are taking down the rest of the Secret Empire foot soldiers. So everything's destroyed, our heroes are victorious, Nova was rescued. So I'm leaving this video here. I hope you guys liked it. See you guys next time. Bye.